Good day, everyone. Welcome to the podcast From Zero to Hero. I am your host, Tony Mudd, and I am extremely excited that you have joined me today. Remember that this podcast is all about being the best version of yourself, whether it's in your career, your marriage, or your business. It's all about getting the best out of life. And before we dive in today, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. First up, it's Safe Touch Family Counseling. They are truly doing incredible and remarkable work helping families heal from sexual trauma, grief, and the community. And also, of course, I wanted to give a shout out to Goodies Banana Pudding. They have the best banana pudding and honey glazed donuts in town. Okay, so today I have a very special topic for you today, and a critical topic. And it's a topic that many people don't seem to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about discipline and how to create and change the trajectory of the discipline in your own life. This topic was inspired by a question that I received at a book signing this weekend that I had for Sometimes You Quit in Louisville, Kentucky. And I thought, what better place would be to discuss this topic than the podcast? So let's talk about this for a minute, okay? So, how do you create discipline in your life? How do you create something that most people believe that they don't have? I believe that discipline is a key element to living a better life and being a better leader, one full of purpose and growth. And for some reason, when I think about discipline, so many people come to me and say, "Oh, I'm not disciplined. I'm a procrastinator. I get there late. I don't have discipline in my life." Right. And to me, I personally believe that we all have discipline. We all have discipline. Think about it for a second. What can you truly accomplish without discipline? What can you truly do with your life without discipline or consistency? And the answer is nothing. You can't do anything in your life, whether it's positive or negative, without discipline. Even your bad habits require consistency and discipline to produce the results that you don't want, like unhealthy routines and poor choices. Everything in your life requires discipline and consistency. And this blows people's mind because a lot of people like to think that they don't have discipline. And I tell them, yes, you do. You have discipline, even in your moments where you're not showing up, even in your moments where you're feeling low. You have discipline because you're consistently doing those actions that are getting you the results that no longer serve you, that you no longer want in your life. And a lot of times when people ask me about discipline, and I touch on this a lot in my book, Sometimes You Quit, and also to the art of self-discipline. And here's my belief. We already have discipline. We have it in our life. We practice it every day, and we don't always recognize it. And think about how you consistently get up every single day, every single morning to go to a job you hate or go to a job you don't like. How many times have you found yourself being in or being around people who are constantly have negative behaviors over and over again? How many times have you caught yourself reaching for foods over and over again that no longer should be in your diet, that don't help you get closer to your goal, right? We have discipline, but the thing about it is we've actually take that. You know what? We've mastered the discipline in our life. But sometimes the discipline is in the wrong direction, moving away from what we really want and what we feel like we really need in our lives. It moves us away. When I tell people that I don't eat meat, you should hear all the people in the room, like the room just go crazy and they say, "Oh my God, I could never not eat meat. I can never just live on that amount of money. I could never get up at that time in the morning. I could never." But here's the truth. They're closing themselves off to who they could become because they want to stay comfortable. They want to stay in their comfort means. And what does comfort mean? Okay. Comfort means staying stuck. Comfort means saying, "I'm not going anywhere. I like where I am, and this is where I'm going to stay." Comfort means that I'm not going to move. They're telling their brain that they're not open to change. They're telling their brain that they will not try anything different to get a different result, to to change their life and their lifestyles. And a lot of times they miss out on growth opportunities. They miss out on personal and physical fulfillment by turning themselves down. The reality is discipline isn't about having a, and I think a lot of times when people think about discipline, they think about a drill sergeant. They think about this person in their head that's constantly yelling at them all day about the choices and things like that that they're making. And to be honest, discipline is about making choices that serve you to get closer to your goal. That's all. That's all discipline is. That is all it is. But I think what people don't like about discipline, and the reason that they don't talk about it and the reason that they say they don't have it, is because it requires sacrifice. Discipline has one requirement: sacrifice. If you're not going to sacrifice or give up the things that don't serve you, endure some discomfort, and deny yourself a short-term pleasure for long-term benefits, then you're not going to have the discipline in the areas of your life that you want, in the areas of the life that you feel like that are going to get you closer to your goals. Think about it. Think about some of the leaders that we have out here today. Some of them that you admire, some of them that you're inspired by, some of them that you find hope in. Okay? What is one thing that they all have in common? One thing, one leader: discipline. Discipline is the thing that they all have. And that is the reason why you look to them, you gleam to them, because they're able to reach certain levels and platforms of success that you feel like, oh my God, if I could only reach that level, but I don't have discipline, which you're telling yourself a lie every single day. You do have discipline, but you have discipline in the wrong areas of your life. You have discipline in the areas of your life that are giving you the results that you don't want. See, when you have bad habits, bad eating habits, bad physical habits, bad spending habits, bad relationship habits, so you're going to reap some results, and you're going to reap the things that you put into work consistently every single day for those bad habits. And a lot of times you're not going to want that. You're like, oh my God, here I keep doing this over and over again, making these same mistakes, making these same decisions over and over again, but not realizing that you're not truly giving up anything. You're not truly giving up anything. When most people think about discipline, they think about it being something harsh and painful. But true, discipline is about forming positive habits that shape your life and your values. When discipline is aligned in the right direction and the right goals, it's powerful. Okay. You can see it in others who are achieving their dreams, growing their careers, and living in healthier lifestyles. Think about it like this: when you're building discipline, or when you're changing the trajectory of discipline in your life, discipline is a mental muscle. Remember this: discipline is a mental muscle. It's just like if you go into the gym today and you never lifted a weight in your entire life. Okay, your muscles will be very incapable of picking up that weight. You know why? Because you haven't strengthened them. They haven't went through anything. And that's the same thing in our minds. Okay, when we're changing that trajectory, excuse me, y'all, trajectory in our lives, we have to go through some strain. We have to go through some discomfort. But for some reason, and let's be real here for a minute, there's a lot of people just watching TV for hours and scrolling through their phones for hours at night, and then they wonder why, when they get up at night or get up the next day for work, they're extremely exhausted. They wonder why they're not moving forward in their diet plans. They wonder why they're not moving forward to save the amount of money that they want to save in their life. And I tell them time and time again, as I'm telling you, you already have discipline. And so today's goal is not about creating discipline. It's about changing the direction of the discipline you already have to help you reach your goals. That's it. That's it. And when I talk about discipline, I tell people my own story. You know, if you've read my book, The Self Hero, you know my process, you know the things that I went through to change the direction of the discipline of my life to serve me, to have discipline serve me to reach success. That's how you become successful, to establish discipline in the right areas of your life. And I'm going to speak from my own experience. Okay. I'm going to tell you about discipline. In 6 months, I lost 65 pounds. Raised my credit report over 150 points over 2 years. I saved $60,000 in 2 years. I reduced my stress, my grief levels over 90%. I increased the relationship of my marriage and the relationship of who I was becoming as a father with my son. Okay. All of these areas in my life require discipline. And you know the crazy thing about the 65 pounds of weight that I lost in 6 months? I never seen a gym. I never went into any gym to lose weight. And a lot of people say, oh, Tony, well, I want discipline. And how do I get discipline? Or how do I change the direction of my discipline? And I say, just start. People say, oh, I want to write a book. How do I do it? Just start. It's not about the words that you select to write your book, or getting what type of paper you choose, or if you're spelling things and the grammar's right. It's about getting it out of you. It's about getting it on paper, starting. That's all what it's about. That's what it's about. And even in my role, even in my own successes, it was about me just starting. 65 pounds of weight I lost from running in place. 65 pounds of weight I lost from running in place. I never did a sit up, never did a push up. I never did any curls, never did any of those things. I just ran in place. Discipline is a simple process. And a lot of times we like to make it too complex because we like to make excuses for our own failures. That's why a lot of people feel like discipline is hard, because we like to make excuses. We like to live as a victim. We like to live as a victim and then blame everybody around us. Like to blame our spouses. We like to blame our kids. We like to blame our jobs. And then we like to blame God. God, why are you doing this to me? God, why ain't you heard my prayers? God, I've been praying to this. And God's looking at you saying, you know what? I done gave you everything you need. You have to be your own self-hero. You have to make the changes in your life. You have to deny yourself the things that are making you feel comfortable, the things that are giving you the results that you no longer want. Take those things out of your life, and I guarantee you're going to move forward. I guarantee you're going to be better. I guarantee you're going to live better. I guarantee you're going to be happier. I guarantee you're going to feel the things that you wanted to feel. And trust me, when you reach this level where you got some wins and you start to feel good, people have told me, Tony, you look better. I look better because I feel better. Tony, your conversations have changed. My conversations have changed because my mind's changed. Tony, it's so good to be around you, because it was one period in my life where it was very dark. I didn't have discipline in the right places of my life. And it was very grim. I was sad. And people can feel that. People can feel that. And for me to make the transformation that I did, I started with one thing: discipline. Discipline in the areas of my life that were going to give me the change that I wanted. And I didn't do anything extraordinary. I did not do anything extraordinary. I didn't even have a formula. A lot of people like to make formulas out of discipline. No, I didn't do anything. I didn't have any of these methodologies in these, get up early, count to 10, count to 5, and then jump out of the bed. I didn't have any of those things. I just said it simple. I made it simple. Discipline is a simple process. I simply shifted the discipline I had already had and focused it on the right actions. I started to fall in love with fruits and vegetables over burgers and fries. That's what I did. Okay. Did you know that 95% of people who set goals for New Year's resolutions never accomplish them? This is the classic case and definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. How many times in your life have you been expecting doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, and then wonder why you haven't moved? Wonder why the people who are around you, who started with less, have more than you have now. Have wondered why your purpose has been on hold. Have wondered why you feel like God ain't hearing you. Have wondered why those things, right? So remember, discipline is a simplistic process. And so how do you start? How do you start changing the direction of the discipline in your life? And I have some practical steps to help you change the trajectory of discipline in your life. Number one, okay, take one day at a time. My grandmother used to talk to me a lot, and my grandmother was a very wise woman. And she was wise because she had made a lot of decisions in life and she learned from them. And she used to always tell me, a lot of times I would be stressed going from one thing to the next, and I always find myself busy doing things. And my grandmother would always say, baby, take it one day at a time. She would always say, stress kills people. That was very wise, very wise. During that time, a period of my life, I was mentally young and I didn't understand that. It is easy a lot of times for us to set a big goal and expect to see immediate changes overnight. Because again, if you listen to my last podcast, I told you that we live in the instant age, okay? We live in the instant age, but real discipline is built one day at a time, one brick at a time, one step at a time. Real discipline takes time. Real discipline is a process. You won't change overnight, and that's okay. Focus on small and consistent steps. Focus on small and consistent steps. Okay? Discipline requires small steps you do every single day. That means you're going to have to live a boring life. You're going to have to be simplistic in your lifestyle. You're going to have to give up some things that are no longer serving you, some things that you're not reaping the better benefits from. Okay. We all reap results, whether it's positive or negative. It's time for you to reap some positive results in your life because you deserve it. And you only get a certain amount of time to be here on this earth. So why not now? Why not now? You deserve it. Focus on small and consistent steps in your life. When people ask me, oh, Tony, how do I write a book? Focus on small and consistent steps. Start today. Get it on paper today. Before you ask yourself what goal, and this is a big one too, before you set any goal in your life, you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to give up? What are you willing to give up in your life so you can move forward? What are you willing to undergo? What are you willing to go through so you can be better? Because if you can't answer that question, you can't really say that you're ready to tackle any goal. Because going after goals requires discipline. And if you're going to go after a goal with discipline, you're going to have some sacrifice. Remember, achieving any goal requires discipline. Achieving any goal requires sacrifice. What are you going to give up in your life so you can move forward? See, think about it this way. Think about a person who is going to run a marathon, okay? And if you're going to run a marathon, you have to give up some unneeded weight. You have to give up some unneeded weight that's been on you so you can move faster, so you can have better endurance, so you can be able to think better, so you can be able to breathe better. Can you imagine running a marathon with weights in your hands and on your ankles and on your neck, and you trying to run as fast as you can? You won't make it. And a lot of times, if you're going after a goal, you have to figure out what that weight is in your life that you have to give up. Because it's not allowing you to be that best person, that self-hero in your own story. So if your goal is to get fit, start by setting a small goal to exercise for 10 minutes a day. A lot of people ask me, how'd you lose that 65 pounds? And I tell you over and over again, I never seen a gym. Never seen a gym when I lost 65 pounds. Never seen a gym. And part of it was I couldn't even afford a gym membership. So it was good that I didn't go to a gym because I was required to use what I had. When you're required to use what you have around you, it makes you more resourceful. It makes you more tactful. It makes you stronger because you have to be curious. You have to be courageous. You have to be bold to do that. You have to be bold to step outside of yourself and use what's around you and not be trying to go out and everything. Because to me, I didn't go to a gym because I didn't like the way people looked at me in the gym. I always felt like somebody was watching me. Somebody was looking at how my body size and stuff like that. So I had to see what that trigger was and then make a plan for it, which I get into in the next few steps. Okay. So if your goal is to get fit, start today. Just 10 minutes. You can walk in your living room. You can put on a series on your TV and just walk through the series. We spend so much of our time and our day in comfort. Okay. I think discipline is one of the biggest things for people to tackle because we spend our existence in comfort and convenience. Think about it this way. When you get up in the morning, you sit down. You get in your car, sit down. Get on the train, sit down. You get on an airplane, sit down. You drive to work or whatever, and then you go to work and you sit down. When it's time for you to leave work, you get on the elevator and go to your car and do it all over again. We have a very comfortable lifestyle. It's time for our lifestyle to be uncomfortable. When people are talking to me and they say, "Hey, Tony, I'm trying to lose a little weight. What can I do?" I say, the first thing that you can do at your workplace is tell yourself that you are no longer going to take the elevator. You're going to take the steps. And even if you on the 10th floor, they say, "Well, I'm on the 10th floor." Well, that's one workout you don't have to do when you get home because you're able to work out and work at the same time. It's about your mental mind. It's about parking away from the door so you can get your extra steps in. It's about doing those things to build discipline so you can get closer towards your goal. It don't matter if it's rain, sun, or shine. You're going to be tested. You're going to be tested. The key is progress, not perfection. Ask yourself, are you making progress in your life? Because we're not looking for perfection. Nobody in this world is perfect. We're looking for progress over perfection, which takes me into step 2. Okay. A lot of times when we're dealing with discipline and we're trying to have discipline in certain areas of our life, and we continually make mistakes over and over again, and get those same results, and we ask ourselves, "Man, oh my God, why do I keep eating these bad foods? Why do I keep hanging with these people that are no longer good for me?" Right? And it's because you haven't identified your triggers that are pulling you away from your goals. You haven't identified the triggers that are pulling you away from your goal. It's the late night snacking. It's the procrastination. It's the binge watching on TV. We all have triggers that make it hard for us to stick to what we need to so we can get to where we want to go. But we have to understand what those triggers are. Why are they making us do this? So you can manage and eliminate them. Imagine fighting a war and you don't even know who you're fighting. Imagine fighting a war and you don't even know what direction those arrows are coming. Imagine building a house, okay, without any instructions. Imagine all of these things that are happening, but they happen in our mind. And that's a lot of times why we give up on our goals and we give up on the things that we really feel like we want because we're undergoing some things inside of us. And some of us too, in terms of our triggers, we need professional help. I know me, when it was times for me to find my triggers, I sought out professional help. I started going to therapy. Okay. I had to understand why I was making the decisions I was making. And a lot of us don't understand why you're making those decisions. But I told you, discipline is a mental muscle. So if it's a mental muscle and your triggers are all emotional, your emotional triggers are going to make that mental muscle either dull or sharp. So you have to find your triggers. Spend some time. Okay. Which takes me into number 3. Create a plan to face your triggers. Create a plan to face your triggers. Once you know what your triggers are, make a plan to overcome them. When I decided to become a vegetarian, I didn't just hope to make better choices. I didn't just hope to do better. I didn't just hope to live better. I prepared myself. I kept healthy snacks in the car, grapes, bananas, apples. And a lot of times too, I do a lot of traveling with my work. So when I travel, I make sure that I'm staying in hotels that are close to grocery shops and in farmers markets, so I can go in and get groceries while I'm staying in town. And this is a big one too, because this is the one that makes people fall off track because when they're traveling, they don't have anything to eat and they find themselves hungry. And that causes a setback. Okay. So you have to find what your triggers are. Me, I start going to a grocery store, getting fruits, berries, grapes. And this also helped me financially. I wasn't going to restaurants, buying a bunch of bad food that wouldn't help me get to where I wanted to go. I was actually saving money. And then I always plan my meals. A lot of times as a non-meat eater, I would go to barbecues and they would have nothing but burgers and ribs and things like that. I took my own lunch with me in the beginning stages of my diet. I took my own lunch with me because I hadn't built the strength yet. in those certain areas of my life to maintain discipline. Okay. So I had to make sure that I had food right on me. I had to make sure that I kept a pack of gum in my pocket to help curb my appetite. I had to make sure that I was drinking enough fluids, enough water so that I wouldn't get thirsty, and ultimately feel hungry, So I had to plan my meals. And remember, discipline isn't just about willpower. It's about setting yourself up for success. You have to plan. It is about planning too. Okay. So discipline, sacrifice, and it's also about planning. What are you going to give up and how are you going to make a plan so that when the things that you're giving up is starting to mess with you, starting to think about it. If it's late, if you notice that you get hungry late night, are you eating enough of the right foods? Ask yourself that. Are you taking your lunch to work? Or are you going to work without breakfast, lunch, and then you're getting in there, everybody says, hey, we have a potluck, and you're eating from the potluck now, or you're eating from the vending machine. Think about those triggers and you have to prepare for them. Just like you will prepare for a marathon or a race, you have to condition your mind. You have to condition your body. Okay. And so this takes me into uh, tip number 4. Determine your why. Determine your why. Setting goals is one thing, but understanding why you're setting them is what keeps you going when things get hard. Okay. Your why is your anchor. Why do you want to make this change in your life? Why do you want to change your life right now? Why? Why? For me, when a lot of people ask me, they say, Tony, why did you change your life? What is your why? And I tell them this. Okay. Catch it. My why is the fear of dying without knowing what I was capable of. My why is the fear of dying without doing my purpose. My why is the fear of dying without knowing how far I could have went in my life. My why is the fear of dying full when I should have died on empty. And that is my why. So what's your why? Why do you want to change the direction of the discipline in your life? Why do you want to change and have discipline in certain areas of your life? Is it your family? Is it your health? Is it your own personal happiness? Is it money? What is it? Think about that. You have to start that mind process, that mental process of thinking. When things get tough, and they will, trust me, you're going to fall. You're going to have some setbacks because you have to be tested on the things that you say you want, right? Think about it. When you go to school and you study, right? You're studying, your teacher's giving you things to study, they're giving you things to read. The first thing that teacher's going to do after you finish that lesson is give you a test. That test is to confirm how much you've retained, how much progress you've made. That's what that test is for. Okay? So when things get tough, and they will, your why will keep pushing you forward. So what is your why? Number 5, and I'm not going to hold you all here much longer. And this is a good one. Okay. Expect setbacks, but learn from them. Expect setbacks, but learn from them. Okay. My father-in-law used to tell me all the time, when I was earlier in my career, I used to struggle so bad. I did. I used to struggle a lot with making mistakes in my career. And I would catch myself moving from one job to the next, to the next job, to the next. And I would feel so bad in myself. And because I always had to start over and I was doing it to myself. Right. And my father-in-law would always come to me and he would say, son, he said, you're going to make mistakes. And it's not about the mistakes. He says, what are you learning from your mistakes? What are you learning from your mistakes? I love the way that he put that statement and he phrased that because he made it okay to make a mistake, but he also put it in my position to be accountable and be responsible for not making the same mistake again. No journey is without a setback. You will make mistakes and that is okay. The key is not to let your setbacks define you. Your key is not to let your setbacks define you. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What am I learning from this? Where I'm at right now in this place of my life, if I've hit rock bottom, if I've fallen over and over again, what am I learning from this? If you find yourself repeatedly failing and falling at some point in your life, dig deeper to understand why. Why is it happening? Why? And be honest to yourself. Be honest to yourself. If you can't be honest to anyone in this world, you have to be honest to yourself. Okay? It starts with you. Let me be real with you here for a minute. Honesty to me is not the honesty that you give to other people. It's not about telling other people the truth. It's about telling yourself the truth first. Because how can you tell someone else the truth if you lie to yourself every day? If you tell yourself that you don't deserve this or you don't have discipline, if you lie to yourself every day, honesty starts with the person. Be honest to yourself. There's no one that counts in this world like you. So be honest to yourself. If no one else, and you don't have to blast it on social media and make a blog about it and all that. Be honest to yourself in your own personal time. What can I learn from this? Why did I do this? How can I move forward? Okay. Remember that setbacks are not failures. They're only opportunities for growth and learning if you learn from them. All right, y'all, that wraps up today's session. And I hope you all, I had a lot for you all today, and I hope you all, that really serves you. I really do. Remember that you have the power to be your own hero in your own story. Don't wait. Take some action today to put discipline in the areas of your life so you can show up in those areas and get the success, happiness, and love that you deserve. Okay? You deserve to feel happy. You deserve to feel fulfilled. You deserve to feel excited about life. Right? You deserve for people to look at you and be like, oh my God, it's something different about that person. And it's positive. I have to be around that person. You deserve to be a person of positivity. Okay? So, thank you so much for tuning in from Zero to Hero podcast. And also, too, if you're looking for more ways and tips and things to change the direction of discipline in your life, check out my book, The Art of Self Hero, located on Amazon. This will really give you some good tips and methods for discipline to show up in more areas of your life. And that's it. That's all I have for you. And I hope you all have a wonderful, safe week. Until next time, peace.